Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to another webinar. Sound check first of all. Can everybody hear me okay? Just give me a yes in the chat if you can. Please be aware that this is YouTube Live. There is around a 15-second delay. It could be a little bit longer, and if you do ask a question, it can take a little bit of time for me to respond. Just while I'm waiting for the yes from people, tech issues this morning. I have my main NinjaTrader on a dedicated server so that my stops and targets are always live. But what happened, what I like to do is actually do the YouTube Live from the NinjaTrader from my computer. So it's faster, there's less buffering, there's no real issues. But this morning, NinjaTrader on my computer would not connect to the data. It would not connect to price, it would not connect to my broker. I have no idea why, because it's exactly the same settings as I have on my dedicated server. So I've just had to email them this morning. So apologies. What you're going to notice at the moment is that we're actually projecting into a dedicated server. So if you can see my mouse, this black space we've got up here, I've just had to reposition it so that it fits on this screen. It's a bit ugly, but I'm afraid it's the best I could do with 4 minutes to spare before this went live. So first of all, everybody doing okay? I've got plenty of yeses now, so I assume you can all hear me okay. Just to let you know that the purpose of this room is to review the opportunities that meet the rules outlined in the educational material at forexeducation.co.uk. And it has already been quite a busy morning. There's been 3 opportunities. One we were stopped out for 12 pips, and the other 2 are ongoing and they are heading in the right direction. We'll come to those later on though. I actually have nine currency pairs I'm looking at. I don't think we'll get through all 9. Some of them I think have been blown out the water now. But if you're new to the room, welcome. If this room is going a little bit too fast for you, you can just go ahead and ask a question. If not, just follow along as best you can. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and register on the website. We do have free educational material there, and the chat system as well, which is absolutely free. Stewie, you in the euro dollar breakout? Yes, I am. I'm actually... It's a bit ugly, as I say, because I've had to project into my charts here, but can I make this bigger? No, I can't really. What I can do, let me just do this. Let me go to the euro dollar. Yeah, so, yeah, what we had here on the 60 was we had a rising channel, and I actually used this as the entry. So we actually had initially AB equals CD pattern. We had a rising channel which met the rules. We then had a lower low, lower close. We had the RSI confirmation, so we were oversold with overbought with divergence. But then bigger picture, we've got a daily stroke 240 pattern. We've actually got 2 of them. We've got X to A to B, B to C, CD completion up here for a cipher, and X to A to B, B to C, CD completion just up here. And then we also had an AB equals CD pattern looking like that as well. Now I've actually got my stop where I would usually have it for an advanced pattern, even though I've used this as the entry purely because it wasn't quite good enough to get tight stops above here. I mean, this could be the turning point, or this could just be a little relief before we see a continuation on higher. So yeah, I'm in that 100 pips for 100 pips max risk trade on that one. Are you in it as well, Stewie? We're in a very nice double top stroke head and shoulders on one of the other currency pairs. We'll come to that later on though. So let's have a look. If I'm right, Taylor spotted the rising channel yesterday. I do remember him posting something in regarding a rising channel. I'm not too sure if it was the Aussie dollar CAD or Euro New Zealand, but I do remember, yeah, he posted something in the chat. So if there's no questions, we'll get on with this review. The first thing was the Aussie dollar CAD. I don't have a clear bias on this, but if I put a structure level on at this major level just here, I'll actually put 2 on. So from the closes of the candles to the wicks, this is a major level of structure. It is defined as major for me because of the reaction we saw. So when we hit it, look at the reaction we saw. We saw a major reaction. So this is classed as a major level of structure. What's also classed as a major level of structure is when we test it more than 3 times. So we've come into that area and we can assume that we're going to see a reaction, and we have already done that. Yesterday we put in a higher high, higher close candle. Now with a major level of structure, particularly on the dailies, we usually see a bigger reaction. One thing to take note of, by the way, we have come into the 9300 psychological number. And so with these big daily reactions, we typically see moves up to fib levels. So we could actually see a move here up to a 382, which would be around the middle of this big outside return. Now what concerns me is that other than us coming into this major level of structure and the psychological number, is we actually fell short of some fibs. So if we throw an inversion on here, we came into a minor level, a 1414. If we look for an extension, we never quite hit the 127. That extension for me is quite important, the 127. You'll see time and time again we hit it and then we reverse off it. We didn't quite do that. So even though my bias here is that we're looking long, and we can certainly look within this area here. Well, we've just come up to test that area, or we can actually look within the body. I would expect a 382, so around this midpoint is where the 382 is, and it just so happens to come into this structure level. So that's what I'm predicting, though there isn't as much confirmation here as I would like. Let's take a look at the 240. There was a few people that looked at a double bottom here on the 240. It wasn't for me, even though it has now been validated. Man, my charts are a bit slow. Apologies guys, they're slow because I'm projecting into my dedicated server, but as I say, due to these tech issues, we just gotta deal with it. We didn't have the RSI confirmation here, so this is an Aussie pair, so I need to be overbought by over 80, and there wasn't any. Well, in actual fact, sorry, the first test was here. It was just here. So there was no RSI confirmation. Nevertheless, we have now had the break above, close above, so we violated the top of the double bottom. And if this is valid for you, you can look for a pullback, a 2618. So from the latest test, from our swing low to swing high, you look at buying up that 61.8, either aggressively or wait for confirmation like a higher high, higher close, and it'll give you something like this much risk, stops going ATR below the low. And then you can do a couple of things depending on what you're expecting price to do. Now here on the 240, we have come into this outside return just here. So maybe you want to play just for a retest of the highs. That'll barely get you a 1-to-1, not even a 1-to-1 reward to risk. Or if your bigger projection is that we are going to go higher to this 382 up here, well then you're going to have a very nice reward to risk. Yeah, this is definitely slow. It's annoying. Okay, let's go back to the 240. So if your bigger projection is that 382, well, you're actually going to have a very nice reward to risk here, looking like that, maybe something like a 3-to-1 reward to risk. Understand though that this could be a lower probability trade. This isn't a trade I'm going to take, even though I do believe that we could actually see a move higher. The double bottom, while it was confirmed, I would have wanted to have seen a violation of a level of structure, and this here was the most recent outside return, and we haven't as yet violated it. So for me it's a lower probability trade, but hey, with lower probability trades we need better reward to risks. So I don't know what the probability of this trade is, but let's say it's 40%. Well, you actually have, in terms of reward here, something like 160 pips of reward for 66 pips of risk. So well over it, something like a 2.5 to 1 there, something like that. And obviously if you have a 40% win rate, well, you can take these every day and over time you're going to be profitable. Just for me, that's a lot of risk for a lower probability trade, so it's not going to be something I'm going to be looking for. But if it meets your rules, well then it meets your rules. Any questions on the Aussie dollar CAD? I will just drop to the lower time frames while I'm waiting to see if anybody has a response. Oh, there is one thing here which I was going to mention. We have a potential head and shoulders. Now it's not valid here on the 60, but on the 15, this is what we have. And I do talk about this in the educational material, the difference between a trend violation or a rotation and a head and shoulders pattern. Patterns typically have an X leg, and what that means is we have a swing in the market and they go from usually one structure level up to another. So we had a move higher, a pullback. Then we physically need a confirmed break above, close above the next level. So we need a confirmed break above, close above this level. We didn't have that on the 60, so that's why it's valid here on the 15. And then what you could be looking for is I would actually need a violation of this structure level here, a pullback, and then an entry reason to get short. And you could actually then play for that 618, which is obviously the 2618 of the on the 240. So you could look at something like that. You may not get it if we retrace this level. We may just come down and hit the 618. Not too sure. It's something to keep on the radar. But I need the violation just here because these patterns, if I put a structure level on at the high here, has not really come in at any kind of structure. We have a little bit here and a little bit here, but I like them to come in at the tops of structure because at the end of the day they are a rotation pattern, and just like double tops and double bottoms, we look for the rotation at the top or the bottoms of structure, which is usually within the wicks. So if I'm taking them anywhere else other than the top and bottoms of structure, well then I want more confirmation, so I need a clear violation here and a potential pullback. So it's a possibility. The best trades I'm actually in already, to be honest with you. That's the Euro CAD and also the Euro dollar and Euro CAD. So if there's no questions on the Aussie dollar CAD, I'm going to scrub this one out and we're going to take a look at, okay, we'll take a look at the Aussie dollar next, starting off on the daily time frame. Is anybody in the Euro dollar trade, by the way, or the Euro CAD? Just while I'm waiting for your response, I'll crack on with the underwriting for the Aussie dollar. So from our last swing, which was up here, we had a move lower. Peter, yeah, are you in both of them, Pete? Then we had a pullback and then we had a move lower. So if I put a structure level on right here at our lows, you can see we have had a confirmed violation, a break below, close below, but we only just made a violation. And what that means is that if we only just make a new low, typically we see bigger retracements. So I would be expecting a retracement up to this level. And if we're looking for targets, we maybe don't want to play for a complete retest of the lows. Okay, so even though we're technically in trend, then you know, we want to be a little bit cautious because trend is its most profitable when we have long extensions, small retracements. long extensions, whereas here we have our extension, our retracement, our extension. We only just made a new low and now we're coming all the way back up. Okay, this is a sign the market is running out of steam. We could see a rotation, we could enter consolidation, so we want to be careful at how we pick our targets particularly. Okay, one thing to bear in mind as well is that we are still within the wicks, and anywhere within this zone there could be a lot of buying pressure, so we want to be cautious with that. Pete, you're in both? Yep, good, I'm in both. Let's hope that we can have couple of nice big winners there. It would be nice. The big trades them. 100 pips. Well, if we don't go any higher on the euro dollar, because it's a fibs based pattern, if we don't go any higher, it's 100 pips of reward. And on the dollar, I keep forgetting the euro CAD, that's about 140 pips of reward there. And we've had the confirmation, we've had the violation of that double top, so fingers crossed, but we'll review that shortly. Here on the 240 then for the Aussie dollar CAD. Okay, I had a potential trend continuation, but it was low probability and it was on the 60. Now, if we're projecting that price can go a little higher, and based on what I've just said that we could see a deeper retracement, then as we drop to the 60 we have this trend. So we have a new high, outside return, new high, outside return, new high, outside return. And apologies for going a bit slow, guys. I've got to wait for the computer for the trades to catch up these arrows that I'm drawing out. Okay, now it was on the 15, right? The trend was on the 15, not the 60. You can still see it here on the 15. Okay, so may not have actually been valid. Yeah, I was looking at this as being the new high, but because of this wick here, we have technically not made a new high. So let me go back to the 15, because I have wrote 15 here. When I looked at it, it was this morning, so yeah, okay, so this morning we did make a new high. This was then the outside return, and what's happened since then is we've come into the zone and we're starting to make our way higher. So there was no entry here. If you did get involved with maybe a higher high, higher close here, your stop would have had to have been here and first targets would have been here. So yeah, that opportunity now has been blown out of the water since the last time I looked at it. Ellie, welcome. Any questions, guys, on the Aussie dollar? It was a lower quality trend continuation trade, that, but it looks as though it's already played out. Poor reward to risk. If there is none, I will move on to the pound yen. And if you guys have any setups on these currency pairs as I'm going along, chuck them in the chat and we'll go over them. Welcome if you just joined us. I see we've got a few more people now. If you're new and you're not really following along, don't worry, follow as long as best you can, ask questions. If you're unsure at some of the strategies we're trading, go and take a look at the website, forexeducation.co.uk. It's got the strategies in there and the quick review videos that we do as well. So here on the pound yen, if I put a structure level on at this major level of structure, remember it's major because we saw a major reaction from it, okay? Things like this, it's likely we're going to see another reaction. However, I've got a bit of a bias here that we are going to go short. The reason for that is if we look at our most recent swing, you can see that we have a very directional move lower, a very small pullback, and we have just here made a new low. So a confirmed break below, close below. So this is conflicting to me because, like I've just said, if we have a heavy trend where we have directional moves, small pullbacks and long extensions, then that's a heavy trend. Right here we're at a decision point whether or not we're just going to carry on, and if we do, we're going to see quite a long extension, potentially all the way down to the low of this wick, but The conflict is that we are at this major level of structure, so there could be a battle that goes on here. Please also pay attention to the fact we are at a psychological number 13600. Psychological numbers for me, particularly on the pound pairs, are very powerful when we're at every 100. Now what we could also see here is a head and shoulders. Head and shoulders is a pattern. We have a pole, we have the start of our pattern here, and we have a directional move, so we could see a head and shoulders. So really guys, this is a decision point. Morning Cody, you're late, you've missed all the good stuff. Now we're only on the third pair. So yeah, this is a decision point. On the dailies we need to wait and see what happens. Do we violate the lows? Do we violate this level and put in a potential rotation? We will have to wait and see. Let's drop down to the 240. I do have a potential Gartley and butterfly on this currency pair. Okay, on the 240. Nope, nothing. Just want to take a look at the 60. Right. This is what I was looking at just here. So this is our X leg. I think the Gartley pattern was bigger. Yeah, it was on the 240. Now this Gartley may or may not be valid for you. Using this X leg just here, we have X to A to B, quite a shallow Gartley, B to C, and a CD completion will be around this level. We can actually put a 127 on from our B point to our A point, and we can look at buying up that 127. It's a little ways away this, but you can see that 127 is at that point. If we do drop down the time frames though, and the more confluence we can add to a particular price reversal area, the better. And if it comes into the wicks, we can then look for those rotation patterns, those head and shoulders. Head and shoulders. Internet keeps dropping out, so we'll be in and out. Okay, Stewie, is anybody else having internet problems? It could be because we're projecting into this dedicated server. If you just joined, we had that internet the problem this morning with NinjaTrader. Nope, no one else having it. Okay. So the other pattern we have is we have X to A to B, and I'm just going to make this different color. We'll make it magenta. B to C, and a CD completion is actually around this area. Oh god, it's slow. Come on. And it's frozen. We'll give it a second. This butterfly hit a 786. Come on, what are you doing? You've done that again, haven't you? Right. Okay. I remember last time we had to do this, guys, I had the same problem, so apologies. Again, we'll just work through it. So butterfly patterns, X to A, we need it to come into a 786, and we've done that. Now there are actually two ways you can work the butterfly. You can look for a 127 from the B to the A point, and that 127 comes in here. However, the second way you can work it is you can look for the B to C point and look for a 1618. Now, based on my back testing, the 1618 was far more profitable. It occurred less often though, significantly less often. I'm just going to leave that 1618 on. and you can see now that we actually have a zone between the 1618 of the butterfly to the 127 of the Gartley. So if we're looking at this being a potential price reversal zone and we want to reduce down our stop loss, because after all this is a huge two patterns, and I'm just going to throw a fib on from the swing low to swing high. If we got involved here at the 127 to the 113, say, oh well, actually it's a bit smaller than I thought, 50 pips. But if we want to reduce down our risk on this trade, then this would be the area where we could potentially look for rotation patterns. Typically we get double bottoms, but it does need to come within the wick. So let's just have a look, see if there's any structure looking left. Nope, 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 and nothing. So it's not looking like this is going to offer any type of conservative entry. For me personally then, what you could look for is the lowest point here, which is the X leg. Highlight that, and that would be the area then you could look for those rotation patterns, and see if it offers you double bottom, head and shoulders, something like that. If not, you can just enter in these patterns aggressively if the pattern is valid for you, which is the Gartley. So, oh okay Stewie, so it's not my end, no problem. Let's take a look then at the lower time frame. Go and take a look at the 15. Anybody got anything on the pound yen? Oh, we could have an advanced pattern setting up here actually. We have a beautiful X leg here. These are the X legs I love to take for advanced patterns. I also like it when the X leg is a double bottom. For me, they are more profitable. Be a bat, be a bat, be a bat. Does it just, is it a bat? Is it a Gartley? Okay. This is a Gartley pattern. So we have X to A to B, B to C, and a CD completion will be here at the 786. Now if you trade these conventionally at the 127, so from the B to the A leg, you can see that 127 comes in at the 786, making for a very shallow Gartley pattern. This is going to drive me insane. Stop doing that. Okay, 127. Or like me, you can simply just set a limit order and enter in at the 886, or again if you're conservative, wait for an entry within the wick, something like that. What would be the risk on this trade if we were to enter in at the 886? Well, 17 pips of risk. And targets, if you're playing for fibs based targets, which I do, I would only be looking for a 382. Every time I put on a fib, it creates an error. Okay, 382. Then we would be looking at around 22 pips of reward. So I'm going to go ahead here and set a reminder for this and see if we get down to this level. And we have a potential setup then on the pound yen on the 15. Marcus does not hit 618 for you, so it's a bat. I much prefer bats, to be honest with you. But yeah, check your data on that, guys. For me, it just taps the 61.8. Cody, same. What I should actually do is bring over. Don't know if it'll do it on here without causing a problem. Nope, that's not right. Show the data box. Oh good, it's appeared here. Right, let's just double check this. Oh man, it's so slow. So slow. Let's move that fib out the way. What is that? Oh, look at that. We had a drawing that was on. Right, this actually may be a bat. Oh dear. Let's double check this. I had a drawing tool somehow that appeared on here. I think because the charts are going so slow, it put one on sneakily. And this is why, guys, you should always check the data. So look at that. Does not hit the 618. Okay, well spotted, guys. And that error occurred because the charts are running slow. Okay, so one thing for me to bear in mind is that if I have this problem again, is to double check. So this is a back pattern, guys. Well spotted. Thank God you guys are here. That's all I can see. So anyway, exactly the same, entering it in at the 886 targets in exactly the same position. Let's go and take a look at the pound dollar. I am confused with the pound dollar. We've spoken about longs, we've spoken about shorts over the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you, and we spoke about this. I'm not going to put some fibs on because it's making it run slow. So X2, nope, it was this one. Okay, we have X to A to B, B to C, CD completion for a bat at the 886, and we have not yet hit that 382. Okay, there we go. That error only occurs actually when I remove some of the fibs, so I'll just keep it like that. But then we also had this X to A to B, B to C, CD completion down here. And we had the butterfly, and I was saying pay close attention to this area right here. We could see a reversal, but we've actually come down to complete the bat. And we have room now to go higher. Okay, I'm actually just going to clear up the chart a little bit, but I'm going to leave highlighted this. Okay, that is the amount of room we've got to go before targets are hit on the bat or on the butterfly. And there is up for grabs 90 pips, so this is a massive trade. But what we also have, I'm just going to delete these, is we have a swing in the market. We have a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, and now we're seeing a pullback. So this is setting up for a head and shoulders. The problem is can we get a confirmed break above, close above before we hit that 382 target, see a retracement, and then look for a conservative way to get involved to ride it back up. Well, let's go and take a look at the 240. So I'm conflicted on this pair, and I'll tell you why. So overall, I'm now looking bullish because we've come very close to targets, and with us being 80 to 90% of the way there, there's a high probability that we're going to go up and hit that 382 target. But here on the 240, we still do not have a confirmed break above, close above our highest point. So if I put a structure level on just here and we zoom in, we actually have another potential head and shoulders. So a move higher, a pullback, a move higher. Then what we did is we had one test, two test. We actually had the RSI that went overbought with divergence, giving us a valid double top entry. And remember, we haven't as yet violated on the daily or the 240. So we could actually look, this is actually valid now, guys. This is a valid double top that's happened. It hasn't come, well, let's just have a look at the structure level that it's coming at. I'm going to put two structure levels on. I'm going to put one on at the closes of the candles of the first test and one on at the closes of the wicks on the first test. And as you can see, the second test is valid because we did not violate the first test. And let's look at the structure that it comes into. 1, 2, very minor level there, 3. And if we look left, Very minor reaction here. 4. Let's keep going. Okay, doesn't look like there's too much else. We fell a bit short here. And yeah, we had a little test here and a little test here. So not a major level. Nevertheless, this is still valid. What I would love to see, and what I'm personally going to wait for, is a move lower, a confirmed violation of the V point of this double top, and then I'm going to be looking for a 2618. So swing high to swing low. Okay, I'm going to try just leaving the 61.8 on. Is it going to cause an error? Nope, that's good. So the 61.8 is just here, and I will then look for playing something like an AB equals CD pattern. I'll have to wait and see how this plays out, but maybe just an AB equals CD pattern, because overall, don't forget guys, we're looking at the market going higher. Come on. So maybe just something like an AB equals CD pattern, which would actually bring us down into this level of structure here. What we may also get on the lower time frame, because this is the 240, if we drop down to the 60 or 15, just up here, we may get a double top because it's within the wicks of the left shoulder. So it may mean that we actually get tight stops above here and give us a very nice reward to risk. 27,600, yeah, 2760s, yeah, right at that level for the 61.8. One thing to bear in mind is that what I'm doing is I'm just repeating the process over and over again, and I'm using trend continuation strategies and rotation strategies on each time frame. So we're looking for a rotation, a violation of structure, a pullback. Then we're looking for well, aggressively sell the 618, or we're looking for a rotation pattern. Again, because this is the higher time frame, there's plenty of time for a double top or another head and shoulders to appear on the 60 or the 15. And again, we can wait for as much or as little confirmation as you want on those time frames there, and it will provide us better stop placement. Okay, so this is something to watch. Obviously, if we just violate here and rally straight on up to hit targets, well, we're out the trade. But if we do that, what we can do is drop down the time frames and see if there's an opportunity right now to get long. I'm just going to delete this off, and if we look at the trend, we had a move higher, a pullback. This was the move higher, the pullback, and on the 60 we already have a confirmed break above, close above the outside return. This is the outside return. What we want to do is look left. Did we violate this level of structure? This will be quite key for me, and on the 60-minute we did. So if you're more aggressive and you believe that we're actually just going to go higher here, well, you already have the violation, and within this level here you can simply look for a higher high, higher close, or you can look within the last chance entry for a rotation pattern. Let's drop down to the 15. Is there anything on the 15? What do we have on the 15? Not much. Okay, so that's all I'm looking at, but higher time frame guys, lots of opportunity there. My personal preference is the trend continuation is not good enough. There's not enough confirmation. And for the double top, I'm going to wait for that violation and that 2618 opportunity. Okay. Any questions then on the dollar, on the pound dollar? And again, due to the delay of at least 15 seconds, I'm going to crack on with the next currency pair. And if I do get anything in the chat, I'll come back to the pound dollar. Okay, forget the New Zealand yen. Okay, New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar was interesting. It was an opportunity to get involved with a trade, but it had no confluence, it had no confirmation. I don't know what the outcome of the trade is or whether it's still even valid, but this is a trade that I would not take even though it met the rules, and I'm going to go through why. So on the dailies, let's have a look. We have from our most recent swing high, we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower. Pay attention to the fact that we've held this structure level just here. Now this is not a confirmed double bottom because it is only confirmed when we violate the top of this level just here. However, you could look for a 2618 because this is your left shoulder. This gives us a double-headed head and shoulders, and we could then look for, because this is the daily time frame, guys, this would be a huge trade within the left shoulder, within the wicks. I cannot tell you the number of times we get rotation patterns within the left shoulder, within the wicks. So this is what I'm going to be paying attention to. Obviously this is a few days away. I want to see a clear violation of this level and a pullback, but it's something to keep on the radar. We're clearly going bullish here though, and this is what I was looking at. Okay, we have not yet, if I put a structure level on here, we have this level just here, and obviously this level here. We can project that the market is moving bullishly, and we could see a move higher, certainly up to the closes of the candles just here. If we go to the 60, we have an AB equals CD pattern, looking like this. Let me make sure I get this right. So we duplicate it, we move it up, and we have the completion of an AB equals CD pattern. I'm going to put a structure level on the closes of the candles and the wicks. Now my structure, everything is to do with structure. Okay, so the strategies I have, everything is to do with structure. Structure must be held, and then we use confluence, things like the RSI, psychological numbers, pattern formations, candlestick formations to get involved with the trade. And if we're looking for structure, we don't have any. Even this level here violated, so we did not hold. Let's look left. We have a very, it's not even worth mentioning, but a minor level just there, and I can tell you there's nothing looking left either. So there's no structure here. So even though we have a pattern, whether it be an AB equals CD pattern or a head and shoulders, it didn't come into structure, so this is unlikely to be valid. We can look for some fib confluence, so we can look for an inversion. Well, we've already shot past a 1618. And if we look for an extension, we've not hit a 1618 either. What was quite interesting, and sorry if we go back to the 60, let me just show you this, is that we are putting in a double top right here, but again it has not formed at structure. We do have the RSI confirmation, so we went overbought with divergence. Now here's what you can do, and it depends what your rules are for trading. Come on, update so I can move that back. There we go. If you want to wait for extra confirmation, wait for a violation of this double top, because don't forget, double tops and double bottoms, they're rotation patterns, and they actually create new structure. And so if we violate the V point of this double top, that's going to be a confirmed double top which has created structure. And so you can then look for a pullback for a 2618 where you sell the 61.8 fib, and because this is a fibs based AB equals CD pattern, well, your targets are going to be that 382, and if you play for two targets it's going to be that 61.8. Now if we drop to the 15, you actually have it's a bit weak to be honest, but you have a move higher, a pullback, a move higher into our structure area, a move lower, and this right here has violated the left shoulder, giving us an initial structure low. And guys, if you've only just joined or you don't know how to read trend and you don't know what an initial structure low is, it's within the educational material on the website. So this is indicating to us right now that we could see a potential rotation. The right shoulder here actually came up to be a double-headed head and shoulders. Okay, so we're getting indications now on different time frames that we could start seeing a rotation. Now, if we use the 15-minute as the entry, it's not going to be as it's not going to carry as much weight as the 60-minute, because the higher the time frame we go, then the more confirmation that's going to provide us. It's like comparing the 5-minute to the daily. The 5-minute, it's just a 5-minute violation isn't going to have any impact on what the daily is telling you. So the 60 is going to carry more weight. So this is one of those situations where we have a valid opportunity, but it didn't come into structure, and structure is key to my trading. So if I'm going to take this trade, I'm going to want to wait for the 60-minute to violate and give me a confirmed double top. Then I'll maybe look at getting involved with a 26.18. Okay, maybe I'm going to see how price sets up, and then maybe I'll look for a conservative entry for the 26.18, maybe something like a lower low, lower close once we've hit that 61.8. So it's giving it as much confirmation as it can do. Any questions on this trade, guys? Just going to see how the trades are doing. Ooh, euro dollar 23 up, getting a nice bit of movement. How's the other trade doing? 39 pips up on the euro CAD, getting a nice reaction. Looking good, looking good. Oh no, I've said it. Should not have said that. What you should never do is say it's looking good. You should never say it's going on to win. You're just setting yourself up for a fall. Okay guys, if there's no questions on the New Zealand dollar, just let me highlight some of these because I've deleted all my workings out, and these are my main charts. So we're looking at the New Zealand dollar, we're paying attention to the pound yen, we're paying attention to the pound dollar, aren't we? Was there any others guys? I've crossed them out now. The Aussie dollar CAD long, I don't think there was any more, was there? Okay guys, we've been going about an hour. Should we take 5-minute break? What do you want? I've got another 3 pairs to go through, something like that. Do you want a 5-minute break or a 9-minute break? Which one do you want? I have an intro for both. I think some of you guys have already seen the 5-minute one, but let me know, 5-minute or 9-minute. 5, 9. Anyone else? 9. Okay, we're going to go for a 99-minute break. Okay, let's go for 3. Is that 4 for 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, guys. 5-minute it is for the time being, because we've only got 2 or 3 more trades to go through. Okay guys, welcome back. Okay, where were we up to? We've just done New Zealand dollar. Let's go and take a look at the pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand, if you remember the 180 pip move that I was projecting, and I managed to get an entry and only target ones at 17 pips, but I almost got target twos at 88 before it turned and stopped me out. If you cannot remember, we will run through it again. I'm projecting that price is going to come down to retest the lows here, and we are slowly working our way down on the dailies. Let's go and take a look at the 240. So to run over what I was looking at, because this pound New Zealand is a mover and we can look on the lower time frame, and if we end up moving directionally we can be aggressive with our entry, and particularly on the 5 range. We had a double top, we had a violation, we violated this double top, we pull back for a 26.18, and well, there you go. We have now just put in this was a confirmed violation of, come on computer, update, of this level. So we have an indication that we can still come lower down to this zone. So there's still, in terms of pips, there's still a lot of pips up for grabs here, 83, and we could see a retracement here and maybe a chance to get short. Let's go and take a look at the 60. Okay, here on the 60, this was the area where I said we could look for shorting opportunities. I missed my entry. We had the violation. We pulled back for a 26.18. I managed to get involved, I'm not too sure, maybe up here, and target ones only. But anyway, we've actually been trending here then on the 60. Move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back. Would have been great to get an entry here. Unfortunately, did not provide a lower close, and just the way price moved, it just didn't provide anything. Everything though here is indicating lower. So if we start to enter trend, or we start to see directional movement, that's when I'm going to drop down to the 5 range and really look to hop on that trend continuation move. Right now though, there is not a great deal here. Let's just take a look at the 5. And we're coming to the end. I've got a couple more pairs to go through, guys, so if you've got anything that you want to look at, throw it in the chat. Looks like we have a pattern here, X to A. Yeah, we have a back pattern, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that if your broker is like mine, they charge you an absolute fortune for the entry into pound New Zealand trades. So you want to make sure that the trade is plenty big enough. So 17 pips, because mine charges around 4 or 5 pips, and when you take that into account, it makes it very difficult to trade the lower time frame. So I don't think this trade will be big enough. That also reminds me, in terms of news, at 3 o'clock GMT plus 1 time, which is UK time, we've got a lot of New Zealand news out, guys. So the market's going to be thin. Whenever we see New Zealand news, we typically see big reactions. So I will not be in any lower time frame trades, and if I'm in any big ones, I will probably get up and manage that trade, because we're likely going to see a big reaction, particularly on the pound New Zealand. Okay, so not quite big enough, but if you have small spreads, then that's a potential for you there. Scrub out the pound New Zealand unless there's any questions, guys. We've done the New Zealand dollar, so I can scrub that out now. Okay, let's go and take a look at what else did we have. Okay, keeping an eye on the pound dollar. I actually thought I had another couple of currency pairs. Dollar CAD, that was the other one. Let's go and take a look at dollar CAD. Yeah, some of the news as well. Yeah, the OPEC meeting, talking about oil, that's going to be all day. You can expect some reactions there. 145, we have FOMC. Not really expecting any type of movement there, but if you are in small lower time frame trades, pay attention. We do also have Powell speaking at 6 this evening again. Not really expecting any type of decent movement, but again, just if you are in those lower time frame trades. But the main one for me is New Zealand at 3 in the morning. I would expect some big movement on that. So dollar CAD, still projecting a move down to this structure level just here. Remember, we had a lovely 128, 129 pip winner last week on this, which made our week. And when we have two structure levels close together, then we can predict, or we're likely to see a move to the lower structure level. And I think it was Marcus that saw this. We have a harmonic move on AB equals CD pattern. I think it's an AB equals CD pattern coming right down into this, in between these two levels just here. So I would actually pay attention to the 130-100 psychological number. Do we have any fib confluence down there? Ooh, look at that beautiful 1618 down in that region. That's what I like to see for an inversion. What I then like to see is a 1414 extension. For me, those two together are the most powerful, and boom, we do have a 1414 there within that price reversal zone. Lovely. So we have it coming into a major level of structure. We have a 130-100 psychological number, an AB equals CD pattern, two lots of fib confluence. Now I will be waiting for both of these fibs to be tested and the 130-100 psychological number. The reason why I'm waiting for the psychological number is because they act as magnets, and there's a high probability price is going to be drawn to that and test it. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for before I'm going to look for an entry reason. So let's go and take a look at the 240, and not a great deal here on the 240 if I'm honest with you. I was hoping we were going to have a low and tight flag, but it was not valid. Nothing here on the 240. Go and take a look at the 60. Just the way price is moving, it's just not nice. I mean, I actually caught a 5 range move on this last week, and my targets were right down here, because I wasn't too sure how much lower price would come, and what we did was we double bottomed, but what we failed to do is violate the double top. So if you look here, we did not have a confirmed break above close above, and so this is not even a 2618 that you can play for. So right now this is a case of sitting on your hands and wait. There's nothing setting up here for me. I think I looked this morning for a pattern. I don't think it was valid. Oh, it might be. No, this was the leg for me just here, and we came down to 786. So anybody got anything on the dollar CAD? Take a look at the 15. Have got a very small pattern here on the 15. Looking like X to A to B, B to C, B to C, CD completion down here. It was just too small, I think. I think there was like 10 or 12 pips of reward in it. Yeah, 8. Too small to take. So really, this is a case of just sitting on your hands and waiting, and I will be waiting for that bigger move down to complete that AB equals CD pattern. Until then, there is nothing on the dollar CAD. Yori, look at the Euro CAD. Okay, let's go and take a look at the Euro CAD. Is there anything in particular you're looking at? Okay, this is the trade I'm in. Yuri, you're registered on the system. I don't know if you're a fully subscribed member or not, but when I sent out the signal for this trade, we talked through what could actually happen with this candle. So I'm just going to put it like this. What we had is a swing in the market, a move lower, and then we had the market coiling. Now, as per the rules in the educational material, I only need one side to be coiling, and this side here did not touch the closes of the candles, and then we had the breakout of the channel. My concern was that we did not violate this level of structure. But when we see a momentum candle, if we can get this right, when we see a momentum candle followed by an indecision candle, and just if you know how price works and how buyers and sellers work, is that we saw a lot of buyers here enter the market, and with this big bullish candle, I mean, look at the size of it compared to everything else, you would expect a continuation, but instead we got stopped dead in our tracks with a doji. Perfect indecision candle. We opened and closed virtually in the middle, and almost the same wick to the top as to the bottom. In fact, we actually had a slightly higher wick to the top than the bottom, indication that there's more rejection. And so when we see that, we could actually see a 3-bar reversal when that happens. Now we've got a long time to wait until this candle closes, so this candle could easily turn and reverse and go all the way back up and we'd be stopped out. But if we're thinking ahead as to how price moves, and we go down to the 240, what I do like is that we've now just had this big lower low, lower close candle. Now we take a look at the 60. We've got this head and shoulders setting up here, so we had move higher, a pullback, a confirmed break above, close above, a pullback, double top. We actually had about 20 different areas minus structure where that double top came into. Within the double top we had a 3-bar reversal, which is what I used as the entry, and then we had the RSI confirmation. So on the first test we went overbought with divergence, and that's what I've used as the entry. Now comes the difficult part. Because we're in profit, we could see a retracement, and if we get that retracement, 61.8 traders or 2618 traders should I say, look at selling the 61.8 and look at riding it down to the 14900 psychological number, or to the lows of structure, or if you're feeling a little bit more aggressive, this is a breakout pattern, you can look for that 127, which would be hundreds of pips away. A little bit too aggressive that for me based on this current setup, but if it's for you and you get it, there's 323 pips of potential reward up for grabs. This was actually sent out as a trade idea, trade signal to all the registered members, so fingers crossed guys, we can get those 140 pips out of the market. If we can get that, and if we can get the euro dollar, man, that would be a cracking week. I'll be quite happy just to take those 2 trades for the week and go and spend them. But that's it for now guys. Anything else to look at? Any questions before we wrap this up? Let's go and take a quick look at the euro dollar. How's that doing? Yeah, the hard bit with trading is seeing it go into profit and then seeing it reverse. Euro dollar targets would have been hit now if he was playing the right rising channel, so we could now see the market continue higher, or we could see it move lower. This could be the turning point. We've got a lovely lower close on the 240. It occurred at a psychological number. We've got 2 patterns, the AB equals CD pattern. For me personally, I think we're going to see a move lower because we do have a harmonic move and an AB equals CD pattern. I would expect fib targets to be hit. This could actually be the turning point on this trade, so we will wait and see. Okay guys, well, if there is nothing else, I'll just give it a few more seconds because we do have that delay. I want to thank you all for joining me. You can go ahead and click the link within the YouTube live, freeforexeducation.co.uk. It's a link to the website. It's free registration. We've got free strategies on there, the free chat system. We've got a signal service, and we're actively on there talking about trade setups, discussing what is valid, what is not valid as per the rules in the educational material. Okay guys, well, enjoy your day trading, and I will see you in the chat.